What's good, y'all? It's your boy DC, and y'all rocking with Alabama Prisoner Profiles, right? And for the first story, I'm going to be bringing it to y'all today. First of all, I want to let y'all know this is not to glorify none of this behavior. I'm doing this really as a hobby, and if it goes anywhere, that's great. I'm going to be bringing y'all stories, eventually interviews once we get the following up and stuff like that. Also, this entertainment should be used as a deterrent for young people to show them what not to do, the wrong decisions, being in the wrong places and times, where it can land you at. Most of these people I'm going to be bringing y'all have been forgotten by the Alabama Department of Corrections or have been released from the Alabama Department of Corrections. So this first story I'm bringing y'all is going to be about Mr. Vincent Ford, right? Now, Mr. Ford is serving life without the possibility of parole within the Alabama Department of Corrections for the 1985 slaying of Fairfield police officer Myron Massey. Now, this information I'm bringing y'all is going to be directly from Mr. Ford's criminal appeal to the Alabama Court of Criminal Appeals. It's posted right there on the internet. You can Google it, Ford v. State, 1987. Right, so James Edward Rory testified that right at about 11:30 p.m. near Mason City, Alabama. As y'all can see, that's right there below West End. Today, that's the trenches. I don't know about what it was back then. Approached him with an automatic pistol, right? Him and another dude, which I'll get into who this other dude is later, approached him with an automatic pistol, told him they were going to take his car, forced him in the car, told him to drive, right? Now, as you can see, I'm sure today Camaros are popular, but back then, that's that Z28 motherfucker. I know that motherfucker. Whoa, 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 whoa. You know what I'm saying? And hold on, an automatic pistol, like they had switches in 1980. Nah, it's got to be like some type of Mac 10, Mac 11, Mac 35, some shit like that, right? Also, obviously, that's a picture of Mr. Ford around the time this happened. He was about 20, 21 years old. The other person that's with him is actually a minor, and we'll get into that later. That's actually going to be the second story, but he was a minor. So they then forced dude to pull over and forced him into the trunk. It says here in the appeal he escaped a while later and was able to call the police. So he called, told on them, these folks just stole my Z28 motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Put me in the trunk, snatched my chains, all type shit. Now, this is where the story takes a random turn, right? 1:30 in the morning, right? 2 hours later, they're riding around in the Camaro, right? This guy, William Scott Bryan, testified and identified the appellant, that's Vincent, as having been a passenger in the white Z28 motherfucker, right? And Bryan testifies this car pulls up next to his, and it doesn't say who fires the shot, but it says a shot is fired from the white Z28 Camaro, and it hits him in the back of the head, but he survives. So they stole the car at 11:30. Do a drill 2 hours later, right? 1:30. So 30 minutes later, right, this guy Tim Payton, who's working at a gas station in Fairfield, sees these two pull into the gas station and that they're exhibiting, quote, suspicious behavior, right? He also sees the driver start the car using a pin in the steering column, right? So that indicated to him that the car was stolen, and him being a good Samaritan, he called the police and reported this incident. Next, it says Officer Thomas Northcutt of the Fairfield Police Department arrived and investigated this incident of the stolen car and the steering column, and he identifies Vincent, the appellant, as the driver, right? Then sends the license plate and sends the description of the vehicle out over the dispatch radio. A short time later, Northcutt hears Myron Massey respond over the dispatch radio that he's located the vehicle and was following the vehicle and was going to attempt to stop the vehicle, right? A couple minutes later, he hears Massey respond back over the radio, "I'm shot. Oh my God, I'm shot." Less than a minute later, Officer Thomas Mosley arrived on the scene and he observed Officer Massey lying on the ground in front of his patrol car. So he gets to Massey, and Massey tells him that a young black male with a red hat with white writing on it had shot him. Massey later succumbed to his injuries and died at the hospital of a gunshot wound to the abdomen. Now, this is a wild case. First of all, I want to say condolences to Officer Massey and his family. I was not alive for this around this time, but my relatives that were alive that lived in the area said that there is a nationwide manhunt for these two, right? The little boy, the 16-year-old, 15, 16-year-old was actually apprehended, they said, somewhere around Pennsylvania in the mall. But Vincent was able to get back with his family, right, after his dad's on the news pleading for him to turn himself in, thinking that these cops are going to shoot him when they get him. He's able to get back with his family, get a lawyer, and he turns himself in, right? And get this is what the second story is probably going to be about, right? The juvenile that's with him, his name's Patrick Carr, right? And the consensus in the community at the time was from the beginning, right? Everybody knew that Vincent was not the shooter, allegedly, right? Everybody knows that the little boy is the one that did the shooting. But we have a dead officer on our hands here, and the kid actually got adjudicated as a juvenile in the late 80s in Alabama. I don't know what that means, but from what I found out, it looks like he went off scot-free. I talked to some legal people, and they said he probably went to Mount Meg until he became of age, and then he was released, right? That's crazy, right? So Vincent gets life without parole, right, for kidnapping the dude and forcing him in the car, the officer, and 2 counts of murder. It's just a sad case because today Mr. Ford has served almost 40 years and is not eligible for parole and is currently housed at the Holman Correctional Facility in Escambia County down in South Alabama. If y'all know, that's where Holman was on lockup like a few years back. Had the warden on there, Grant Covler. Not a nice place to be. High-level prison. I think it's halfway shut down, though, today. I know that's where death row is housed. I think they're only using like half of it now for like death row. And just a couple inmates, I believe. But that's what the Alabama DOC says, all right? Also, it says a memorial was held here back in 2019 for the 25th anniversary of Officer Massey's death. Again, I want to say condolences to his family. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, let me know what you thought about this video in the comments. It's my first one. I'm going to be cranking these videos out. Just got to find, get comfortable with it with the equipment I got. Peace.